Hello, everybody. I'm Spegtacular, the Silver Stack. I'm here with Ben, the Coin Geek from YouTube and also a coin shop owner. Ben, if I'm wrong, you tell me I'm wrong, but please introduce yourself and let people know who you are and what you're all about.
Well, you did a spectacular job there. I'm Ben, the Coin Geek. I own Old Pueblo Coin Exchange, hence the sign here in Tucson, Arizona. We have a YouTube channel called The Coin Geek, where we focus mostly on coins and coin collecting. Of course, we also run into all the other ancillary things like other antiques, but also gold and silver items and all of that jazz. So we're full-time brick and mortar. We have the YouTube channel and we get out a little bit on the road, not much yet, but I'm trying to get out to more coin shows so I can get and see this beautiful country that God's given us.
Oh, that sounds like a good plan there, Ben. Now, your coin shop, this is your coin shop, correct?
It is as of about 5 years ago or so, but I've worked here about 25 years. And the original founder from 1982, so we're in our 40th year, he decided it was time. And I told my wife, no one else is going to hire me. We better buy this place. And that's kind of how it worked out.
So 25 years you worked there. So you worked there since you were 5. You can't be more than 30 years old.
That's correct. That's correct. And my body feels 30 years old too. It's fantastic.
Well, that's cool. I mean, so you basically started at a coin shop and then lived your dream of owning one. And here you are. And now you've used a YouTube channel to help promote the hobby and promote your business, I'm sure. Has YouTube helped that, in the business?
It has for sure. We focus on education and, the history of coins. We do a lot of other stuff that's sometimes kind of fun or silly or stupid, depending on how you look at it. But all that ends up helping out the business side also. But it's fun to share coins and talk coins. Basically, during the pandemic, I had always kind of wanted to do some YouTube videos, and I started doing more because we had a little bit extra time on our hands, and we're getting a lot of good feedback about, hey, there's people that are starved for this type of content. They want to be able to look at coins. And what I didn't think about was because I live in a metropolitan area and there's several coin shops, but there's lots of people that live in an area that's a coin desert where there's not a coin shop near them. They don't get to watch stuff on a regular basis. So we got a lot of feedback of, hey, thanks for this material. Can you keep making more? And so that's just kind of, we started with our toes dipped in the water, and now we put out new videos pretty much every day of the week now. So for people who like coins and coin collecting, it's fun.
Speaking of coin desert, I get a lot of viewership from people from other countries who collect United States coins, and they love my videos. And I'm pretty sure it probably works the same for you. It's kind of fascinating. They don't have coin shops, I guess, just everywhere over there. And so they rely on YouTube to see United States coins.
Yeah, we definitely have overseas viewers. I know you can dig into all those analytics. I mean, YouTube offers analytics that you can dig into. I don't really look at that stuff too much. I will say that I've noticed that the Far East and Middle East and India, places like that, there's a lot of coin collectors that really enjoy. Now, a lot of them don't necessarily do US, but there's a lot of coin collectors over there that we get questions from time to time. And just on the state side, I mean, drive across the country and you find out, or just talk to people. I get a lot of phone calls from people who they're calling, and I'll just talk to them about where they live. And they may live in a place that seems like it should have a decent amount of coin activity. And it turns out that most of the coin shops near them aren't really coin shops. It's really either a pawn shop or a jewelry shop or something along those lines. And the people they're dealing with, some of them might like coins, but they might not be that knowledgeable. And, others, they might just be shysters. And so you get a lot of that stuff where even if they have some type of a coin presence, it's not really a great one.
Gotcha. Now, Ben or the Coin Geek, I'm not sure I might just interchange it here and there. But I want to, show people that you do have a YouTube channel and, a real good coin shop. And so I'm going to put information for you down in the description of this video. So if anybody wants to just click down there and, see what you're all about. And I recommend that you go subscribe to Ben's YouTube channel. You get a lot of compliments for your YouTube channel onto mine. In my comments, people say that you're very knowledgeable and that I should speak to you. And that's why I said, hey, I should speak to you. because people actually think that you're, doing a really good job. And so thank you for that. I do have some questions though for you, Ben. Are you actually a coin collector, or just you kind of just a shop owner?
It's funny. I'm a coin collector. I'm still a coin collector first at heart. And what I mean by that is I get a lot of people coming at me because I'm a coin dealer, and people in their comments about, it's funny because people don't know what it's like to be on this side of the counter, so to speak. And they have all these assumptions about coin dealers, and they've had bad experiences, and I understand that. But I always kind of consider myself to be on the other side of the counter, the same side of the counter as them, which is to say, we're all coin collectors at heart. I have plenty of experiences from trying to deal with dealers, because I still, when I deal with dealers, sometimes feel like, they don't do it the right way, or they should treat people differently, and that type of thing. So I'm a coin collector at heart, which is why I can make coin content about anything from ancient coins to US coins, medieval coins, modern stuff. There's just a whole litany of things that you can talk about, and I enjoy a lot of all of it. So the collector in me has always been there. I would be a much better businessman if I wasn't a coin collector, because I would just worry about things that I don't worry about that are good for business, instead of worrying about coins. So it's I'm a collector at heart, I think, to answer your question.
Gotcha. And what's your favorite thing to collect? Since you are a collector, what's your favorite?
So this is what I talk about. The difference between the business side and not is I collect mostly cheap and esoteric items, because when I buy a nice coin that's expensive, I have to find a home for it, because I don't get to print money. I actually have to be able to turn coins back into money. Otherwise, I will go out of business. And so for me, oftentimes I'll collect things that are relatively inexpensive, that are kind of tangential to the hobby. So like funky old holders, I'll find stuff that's like advertising related with coins, things that I could never really resell at any good value, but I find them really interesting to the history of the hobby. So those are things that I tend to hold on to for myself. Also, there are some very specific things I collect for myself, but I haven't bought much lately. I collect Reformation medals and things related to the Reformation. So you're talking about in the 1500s, lots of medals and silver coins and stuff that are related to that, but I haven't bought anything in a long while. And occasionally I'll pick up an ancient that I think is too cool to sell, because I'm like, and lots of times they're not that expensive. Like you can find really cool ancients for a couple $100. And I know that's still a lot of money for a lot of people. I get that. But there's things that I can afford to hold on to in that price point once in a while, that I say, because you can't, it's not like a silver eagle where they all look the same. These coins, you'll find something that has a design you've never seen before, and you just think, I've got to hold on to this.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, talking coin collecting, you look at like the beginning of the Red Book, for United States coins and some of the, colonial stuff, and you're talking tens of thousands of dollars for that stuff. Meanwhile, you go back, to BC era, and you can get those coins for dirt cheap in comparison. It is kind of weird how that works.
Yeah. Supply and demand is a real thing, and it really affects the coin hobby. So you can perceive value lots of different ways, but at the end of the day, if there's demand for something, it's what moves the market.
No, I don't think that we actually established how old you are. How old are you, Ben?
Don't make me think about 45. Yeah,
45. Okay.
I try to figure it out once in a while, but I'm not good at math.
That's right. I'm 39. Sometimes I have to think about my age as well. Do you think that in our lifetime, us being close to the same age, I'm 39, that you and I will see all-time highs for silver and gold?
So I don't predict gold and silver prices like a lot of people do. We handle gold and silver kind of daily anyways. A lot of that is that people buy and sell into fear, and I don't do that with people. I don't think that's the right way to handle things. I tend to have the philosophy that over time things go up in price. If you ask me in 40 years, will gold and silver be higher than they are today? I'd say, well, yes.
Where are you at in your shop right now?
This is just my little filming area that I've got going on. This is, not out front, because Yeah, I can't film out front when people are there. I'd kind of like to, but I have these weird ideas about making things a little bit like Pawn Stars. They actually shut the shop down to do that, and then they have a couple people milling around, and so they limit the amount of volume of audio that goes on in the background. But out front, if we're just doing regular business, it can get kind of loud and boisterous. The mics kind of pick up everything, and so I'm not really set up for that. But I'd like to. I have ideas about things that I don't know if I'll ever do, but the ideas are there.
So is your shop open right now? Are customers coming in?
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. Yeah, we are currently open. I got staff out front to help people out. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe after the video you can send me just a couple still shots of like, what your shop looks like from the inside, just so I can post them in this video.
I've got a couple of videos I can send you some links to. You can put links in this video of mini coin shop tours for the shop, just so people know what it looks like.
That would be perfect. All right. So, you being so close to Mexico, are you seeing probably different kinds of coins that maybe other coin shops would see come in because of your, proximity to a different country?
Probably. I mean, just talking to different dealers from different areas, it's like if you're in Michigan, you get a lot more Canadian coins in the door. We don't get as many. We don't get as many Mexican coins as we used to, but I mean, the market's a kind of different market than it was 10 or 15 years ago anyway. But we definitely see a lot more Mexican coins than I think you would if you lived in the upper Midwest. But it's not like it used to be, though. It seems like we used to get a ton of Mexican coins in, but that market's really changed. It's a very, very popular market currently, and so it seems like it's harder to get a hold of some of that.
Yeah, Mexican coinage, gold, silver have become very high. So what do you hope comes into the shop? If somebody comes in with a collection, hey, Ben, I got to sell this stuff. What are you hoping? What kind of collection you hope comes in? What are you hoping is in there?
I like seeing high grade raw coins. It's always neat to me when I see an old collection and it's all raw still, it's not certified yet. And, it's just kind of really attractive stuff. That's something I always like looking at. There's just something about seeing them not in those holders yet that I always find to be kind of, I don't know, how would you put it? It's just, there's an allure to it, because coins that aren't in the plastic holders yet I think have a certain look to them that's kind of fun.
It is fun, but then, as a owner and as you buying this stuff, you got to be probably a little weary about some kind of really high grade looking coin that's not graded yet. In a slab, I should say. Yeah. That probably as a shop owner kind of makes you kind of give it a side eye a little bit.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're talking about rarer coins, more expensive coins, and maybe that was inferred in what I said, but I'm just thinking of it can be common coins that are just kind of in really high grade that you get the feel like someone in the 1940s put this coin aside and it just hasn't been touched. Right. Like I think of deals that I bought, in my youth, even though I'm still young, but I was a teenager and, you open this little wood box and here's these commemorative $50 from the early 1900s. They have got a little toning to them and they're beautiful. They're just lovely. And they're not necessarily rare and expensive, but it's that untouched, in that cherry condition kind of look that is fun. And also it helps you train your eye as a collector when like I get the advantage of seeing things like that. So I know what a really nice coin should look like, what original toning should look like. And those type of things I find really alluring. Now, to your point, if you're like, if another dealer comes in and they've got a really expensive coin that you think should be certified and is not, but looks nice, that is a little bit of a red flag at times. You're like, okay, yeah. So I know what you're getting at with that. That's a true statement too. Yeah.
Now, Ben, I'm going to put this coin right here up on the video because this is although it's not the most rare or the greatest condition in the world, this coin right here I actually found amongst a pile of just regular junk silver. I mean, nothing special. Some had no dates. I mean, it really was kind of just regular constitutional silver, nothing special. But I picked this guy out right here, and I sent it to NGC because I thought, man, I've never seen a coin that looked that good, that was raw, on a table full of junk silver.
That's a good pickup. That it probably stuck out like a sore thumb.
100%, because you don't see the design around the rim. I mean, you don't get that right there when you're looking at just regular junk silver. You get everything all slicked out.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I answered your question about what do you want to look at, there's the fun thing about collecting is there's an emotional response, there's an emotional trigger, and that's what you got when you saw that coin. It's the little bit of a treasure hunt, and you got that when you saw that coin.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I thought I was like a modern day pirate, finding my treasure.
Well, in Florida, there's lots of treasure to be found.
I hear that, and I might, I'm in a tropical storm right now. Our audio is going in and out once in a while, but I might go to the beaches and see if any of that gold is washed up.
That's what I've heard. It's the time to go out there.
Do you ever get any treasure coins that come into the shop?
Occasionally. I mean, usually it's from stuff that's already obviously from a collection, but you'll have people bring in, it depends on what you consider treasure coin, right? But of course, we'll see stuff from some of the shipwrecks that are more famous, modern famous, I call them modern famous, like the SS Central America that has like US coins. But occasionally we'll get stuff in from the Etosha, things like that are really popular. I always think of, when I think of treasure coins, I do tend to think of old Spanish, from galleon ships and stuff. That tends to be the thing I think of first.
Oh yeah, I mean, like that's kind of where I was going. Etosha's great, 1715.
Yeah.
To me, that stuff is just so fascinating and crazy that it was just sitting down there waiting to be found.
Do you have any good shipwreck books? Books on shipwrecks?
No shipwreck books yet? No.
Well, I don't have any back here in the office with me, but I've got some. There's some pretty neat shipwreck books. You find out really quickly that there are hundreds and hundreds of known shipwrecks. Some of them located, some of them unlocated. Some had treasure, some didn't really have treasure, and they're really fascinating to kind of plug and unplug. Do you want me to go grab one?
Oh yeah, please.
All right. Here's one to find. The Atlas of Shipwrecks and Treasure. Big old book. This is by Nigel Pickford. Nice book. It talks about, individual shipwrecks, but talks about shipwrecks throughout history. So you're talking about shipwrecks that are going to be, we think of stuff from the 1600s, but you're talking about, they have famous shipwrecks in here that are going to be ancient shipwrecks. So there's just a lot of history in here. And then they also have these atlas pages in the back where they'll have the little map boxed out of the location, and then they'll have listings and listings of shipwrecks. And the fun thing about books is you accidentally learn when you read from them. This is a thing. Because we've become so accustomed to finding stuff online and on the internet, and it tells us one thing, and we think it's the thing we want to know. And then you go through a book, and this is the same, by the way, just even going through auction catalogs. You'll find one thing that you didn't know before, and you're like, that made the whole thing worth it, to be able to learn something new. And but that's a fun book, and there's lots of books out there on shipwrecks and stuff. That one I find pretty interesting.
That is cool. And I'm going to pick a shipwreck book up. That might be the one then. That's good advice. Any other books you can recommend to people out there?
Well, it depends on what you're getting into. If you are into a very specific coin collecting area, then there's specific coins. There's books for just about any coin collecting area. Right. So if you like pennies, or Indian head cents, there's, Rick Snow's book. If you're into something as esoteric as, good 4 tokens from certain states, old bar tokens, casino tokens, stuff, there's books that have been published by people on just about any given topic. So it depends a whole lot on what you're going to get into. There's books specifically on ancients. There's books on paper money. So you kind of have to whittle it down to what you like or what you have interest in. because you can have a library of 10,000 books if you wanted to.
Right. That's a good point. I find myself as a coin collector evolving all the time. I started very much so in United States coins, and then I moved to Mexican. Now I'm also into like Spanish gold, and it's like nonstop. I don't know where I'm going to go from here, but it's getting stressful because I only have so much money to spend.
And that's a problem a lot of collectors run into, is just being able to define what they want to collect and limit and budget, because we kind of tend to all have what is the no matter where you are in life, you tend to have that problem of being a couple of price points away from where you should be. In other words, your eye is always attracted to the next level up from where you can afford. But I recommend trying to think about what you want your coin collection to look like, what coins you'd be proud to own, what you enjoy owning. Sometimes less is more. I got guys that I learned this from a guy who collected error coins. He had a one box rule, 20 coins in one box. He had a slab box at 20 coins. If he was going to buy a new coin, he had to get rid of one. Try to have the average collector do that. They would lose their mind. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but the idea still is there of, okay, it's okay to sell some things I've had for a while. I call it kind of romancing the coins. You romance it for a while and you move on. It's okay to have your taste change and go ahead and sell some old stuff off and move into something new. And it actually is kind of nice because you're accidentally holding value in your coins that you've purchased previously. Even if you don't get 100% of the value back, that's okay. You might have thought you only had a budget for, $100 coin. And yet here you have a couple other coins that you've got hundreds of dollars of value in. Well, now all of a sudden you can go ahead and buy a $400 coin instead, just because you've decided I'd rather have that one $400 coin than these 4 $100 coins. And that's something that, collectors oftentimes, because they're not patient, don't buy as nice of coins as they think they want. But most of them can actually afford the nicer coins if they will forego buying the less expensive coins. So I'll have a lot of customers, they might spend $100 a week, but they'll tell me they can't afford a $500 coin. And I always think, well, sure you can. You just got to wait. Just wait 5 weeks. But, welcome to America, the land of the patient.
The patient. What is like the weirdest thing that's come into the coin shop?
I'm laughing because I don't even know how to begin with weird things that come into the coin shop. Our bigger problem is like, what's the weirdest thing that we'll buy or won't buy? Because I've been in trouble buying things that I shouldn't buy, like giant fossil collections that I have no business buying, except for the fact that I just felt like there was so much of it. What could possibly go wrong? But it's usually going to be things that are not coin related. When you talk about weird things that come in, coin related things that are weird has more to do with the people that bring the coins in, which is to say, the internet's a really wonderful place to get bad information. And I'll have people come in with stuff and they will just be out of their minds about something that is literally worth face value. And they are convinced it's like the lost treasure, like they are Indiana Jones and they've found the Temple of Doom. Like it's really bizarre. And if you've been to coin shops that are brick and mortar, when people come in, you've probably seen that experience. Yeah, but as far as actual things go that people bring in, taxidermied animals and things of that nature, I guess. I've had guys that collect skeletons of animals, things that are odd and curious. But yeah, we'll get a little bit of everything. And if you come to the coin shop, you'll see occasionally we buy some of that little bit of everything.
One day I would definitely like to experience your shop.
Well, I hear there's like a road, I think that's called I-10. And I think that it goes all the way from Florida to Tucson, but I heard it's a drive.
I've made that drive one time in my life so far, and I plan on taking my kids on the same drive that I took when I was a kid. So maybe I shall. Speaking of fossils, and I'm sure you get all kinds of fossils being in Arizona. Would you buy these kind of fossils? You think I got
There
a
you go.
and I got a megalodon.
So I probably have some of those in my shop right now. That's a nice megalodon. Either you're doing fancy camera work or that thing's bigger than your hand.
It's much bigger than my little hands for
Is
sure.
that's like a 6 incher? That's big.
Yes.
So that's a nice megalodon tooth. So little known fact about Tucson, if you like fossils and minerals, there is a show, the largest gem and mineral show in the world meets in Tucson, Arizona, basically all of the month of February. And you can't find a hotel. The entire town has changed. And you go around and you hear languages, all the languages, every country. You see license plates from every state. It's really something else to see. So yes, I'm going to try not to buy any more megalodon teeth, but I've handled many of them over the years.
It's hard not to buy that stuff. Every time I see one, I want to grab it up so bad. Just for the record, right? And we're going to put this out there right now, Ben. If I do take that road that goes from Florida to Arizona, can I do a coin shop interview video face to face with you?
Do people get to see your face? Or are you like Marshmallow?
No, they can see my face every now and then.
Are you like Mr. Wilson?
Just from the nose up.
I have references for all of it. You're like the engineer or gorillas or Gwar. I mean, how many unseen faces do we have in the world? So yeah, of course. I mean, it can't be any harder than trying to set up a Zoom meeting during a tropical storm.
It's working better now.
And by the way, I mean, if we can set something up right, I mean, we can do something down in Copper Country, down in Cochise County, which is really fun. The history in Arizona is fantastic. The Old West, you've got the Marshall badge there for your logo. I mean, the Old West is pretty spectacular itself, and to go through some of the mining towns and ghost towns and places that have a lot of history is kind of fun. I'll take you and the kids out.
That sounds like a date.
Date number 2 for you, those who are keeping track.
That's a good track record right there. As a coin shop owner, what kind of challenges do you face?
So I tell people all the time, if you want to get into small business, don't. And so it's mostly tongue in cheek. When you talk about living the dream, and I always wanted to own a coin shop. It is way different than working in a coin shop or even doing coins part-time. It's way harder than it looks. It's not as fun as it looks. This is how I explain it to people all the time. It's like, okay, so you've got the feds, you've got the state, you've got the county, you've got the city, and each one of them has multiple mandibles that you have to deal with. Then you're not talking about dealing with property ownership, vandalism, or anything like that, worried about insurance, or you have to have really good employees, which, by the way, best thing about this place is we have really good employees here. Everyone will take care of you. That's one of our number one compliments we get. But running your shop, your challenges are real, and we didn't even talk about coins yet. And then you've got to learn how to deal with people and understand when you have a coin that you think you can sell for $100, but you're not sure, maybe you can only get 90 for it, and they want 95 for it, and like, do you buy it or not? It's like a whole thing that goes into the actual dealing with humans, and if any of you have ever worked in retail at all, and not just specialty retail, but any retail, every type of humanity walks in that door, and you've got to be ready to try to serve them well and be helpful and be kind. And sometimes you have to learn how to be kind and say no, or kind and say time for you to leave, or, there's the whole gamut. So there are all kinds of challenges just in the actual operation of a shop. Not even talking about the coin market, just talking about trying to run a business. It's a whole thing.
Now, what about the counterfeit situation? Is that stuff kind of a challenge right now for the shop?
I don't think so. Not as much as people make it out to be anyway. We do see a lot of counterfeits. We educate people on them. That we show a tray to people when they come in if they're looking at stuff to try to explain to them what's real and what's not, and why it's real and why it's not. You know, you see stories online, and it gives you a bias against how much actually is out there, or your chances of getting burned, what they think they are. Generally, the quick advice is if you go to some place that's reputable, you're going to be fine. That's the quick advice. If you only want to get a deal, you're a target. You're making yourself a target. And if you're shopping on Craigslist or at, little pop-up vendors, sometimes at some of the mini malls, that can happen at some of the antique places occasionally. But if you're shopping online with people and you think you're getting a deal on something, then, you're just making yourself a target.
All right, Ben. So a new collector walks into your shop. He saw all your videos, right? Every single video. He's mastered the knowledge of Ben the Coin Geek. But he's curious, where does he start? What's a great coin or coins to get into as a starter?
Well, I mean, you mentioned before that you've had the challenge of figuring out what to collect, and you've seen your taste buds change, and so that's why my answer always tends to be aware that you're it's a journey. I mean, coin collecting truly is a journey. The things that you collect when you're 15 and first starting are going to be different than when you're 45, right? And so just be patient and enjoy the journey, and just gain a lot of wisdom along the way. In our culture, knowledge is really cheap. I mean, you can watch really cheesy guys on YouTube calling themselves the Coin Geek, but knowledge is cheap, but wisdom is invaluable. So, as far as like having some special place to start, whatever someone's attracted to, right? So people collect for different reasons. So some people collect for prestige. Some people collect for lineage. So in other words, if you're from a certain part of the world, you might only collect coins from that area, right? You collect your heritage. That's really common, real popular. If you are really into a certain time period, I know a lot of people, they love the Civil War, so they collect only Civil War related items. So you tend to collect, for everyone, it'll be a little bit different, but most people start with wherever your interests lay or lie, depending on what's grammatically correct, and just go from there. And you can find that in any single collector area, you can really expand your knowledge base. So if it's just the Civil War, that's not a little thing. It's like it turns into volumes and volumes of stuff that you can get into. If it's Lithuanian coins and you and I think there's only 10 coins, well, you find out, no, there's a whole thing out there. So start with what you have interest in and just enjoy the ride.
Ben, coin collecting is dead. I've heard that several times on my channel because my channel focuses on coins and precious metals. So there's a battle sometimes between the precious metals geeks and the coin geeks. So what do you think when you hear that coin collecting is dead?
Well, we are converting stackers into collectors. Like on my channel, I hear people say, and I tell people this, and I've had a lot of people confirm it to me, silver stacking is a gateway drug to coin collecting. Absolutely, because first you're buying rounds, and then you're buying, oh, these are older rounds. And then you're like, oh, this is kind of different. And then it gets you into the collecting aspect of the hobby. Coin collecting is far from dead, although if you would have asked people that before COVID, they would have said, yeah. But I think a lot of it is that coin collecting has changed. Not everyone is brick and mortar. Not everyone's going to coin shows. You have an entire community of guys that are trading on Instagram that is almost not even connected to the rest of the coin market. Like a lot of the guys on Instagram, they don't buy coins on eBay or sell coins on eBay or through an auction house like Heritage, or, they don't go to shows. So you have all this interesting segmentation of the coin market. And it's really interesting to kind of watch and see how there's just different watering holes that you can get into. Coins, the fun thing about what happened during COVID, one of the many blessings that came out of something that was pretty miserable, is the number of people who are new to the market and who are back in the market is very large. And you have this new sense of media with these communities educating people online through places, of course, like what we do here, where people who really didn't have a chance to learn about coins or enjoy the hobby, because like we talked about earlier, they're in a coin desert. Now those people can engage. And so you're actually starting to see, I think, a more vibrant and diverse coin market than we've ever had. Now, you talk to anyone who's been doing it a long time, if they are just stuck in their ways, they're going to have a hard time. If you've had a shop for 50 years and you don't know what's going on anymore and you can't sell stuff, but it's because you're only doing the same business model you've been doing for 50 years, you may have the perspective that the market is dead. But it doesn't seem dead for now anyways.
I think it's more lively than ever, and I think the internet's really, really helped, the popularity of coin collecting. We mentioned ancients and being surprised about how kind of cheap you can get these things for. Do you see that there's any kind of undervalued coins that are just like, I mean, you just don't understand it? Why are these coins, so cheap? And like, you think that eventually the value will explode?
Well, there's coins all over so anywhere, once again, just talking about supply and demand, anywhere where you can find coins that are hard to find, but are still inexpensive. And that's kind of a loosey-goosey way of talking about it. But there's so many areas of the coin market that exist like that. So as an example, we talked about Mexican coins earlier. 8 reals used to be, they were always $20 or $30. Nice ones were $40 or $50 forever. And now you've got common ones, average circ coins are, $50 or whatever. But unks are like $200 plus. That's an example historically of what can happen. So you can't predict what's going to become popular, but you can see what is somewhat hard to locate and inexpensive. And especially if you collect in a very specific area, you can see that. As far as like some type of advice on coins that are just a value pick, I mean, there's actually just lots of things out there that are, for how hard they are to locate, are relatively inexpensive. I mentioned those gold half-ounce pieces, the first Spouse series is among them. I kind of like the low mintages on the 5-ounce silver pieces. Those are modern examples. I kind of think there's some value still in $10 Indians. And this is the opposite side of the spectrum. So like your older $10 gold pieces with the Indian design on them, this is a place where there's always seems to have been demand. When gold was $300 an ounce, a nice 10 Indian was $1,000. Well, you can still pick up nice certified 10 Indians for $1,500, $1,600 that are certified and uncirculated. And so to me, I look at those and I think that seems like a value, but that's only based on the fact that I have a historical perspective of how much they were when the market didn't seem as crazy as it is today. There he is. Look at that.
I'd love my stickers on my coins to see what I paid for them, Ben. And so here's an example of what you're talking about. Here's a MS62 1911, so common date, but you can see what I paid for right there. Maybe
little blurry. What's the number say?
$880.
There you go.
So that coin's worth a little bit more today in just a short amount of time, only a few years. Kind of fascinating how it works that way.
Yeah, but there's no way to predict the future when it comes to the pricing on stuff, which is why I still always, I'm happy to answer questions about it, but I'm still leaning towards telling people it's the hobby, enjoy the journey. And the reality is, if you collect coins for 30 or 40 years, your valuation is going to be good over time. You're going to have value that's going to be more than what you had paid for things. But what you're not going to see, there's no guarantees on it. The only way you can really get hurt, in my opinion, on that type of stuff is if you're shopping with people that are mail order companies that are charging way too much for stuff. But if you're dealing with people who are just good, solid human beings, you're going to be fine over time just collecting what you enjoy.
Right on. I'm going to have to go get my lawn chairs from my neighbor's yard. This tropical storm has blown them all over the place. But any plans for the future, Ben?
Well, nothing super specific. I mean, we're still doing what we're doing here. Like I said, I'm going to try to get out to more coin shows. We're going to keep rolling with the same coin content we've been doing. Try to do a few more interviews when I can with people. both this way and that way. I mean, I like interviewing people a lot too. So, but we're gonna keep fighting the fight and having fun in the process. And I really appreciate you taking the time to have me on, and let me know when you're coming to Tucson, and we'll set something up.
I would enjoy that very much. And yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, I get a lot of comments, people saying that I should talk to you because you're very knowledgeable and they like your channel. So if you don't know Ben the Coin Geek, make sure you check down in the description of this video, click that little link or those links down there and see what he's all about. Check his YouTube channel out. Give him a little follow right there. Subscribe to him. And Ben, thank you very much again. And it's been a pleasure. I mean, I could sit here and talk to you all day about coin related things, but I know you got to work.
It's what I do all day too. Yeah, the phone's blowing up, so we're gonna get after it.
All right. Enjoy your job as a coin shop owner. Ben, thank you again.
Hey, I appreciate the time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, hello, everybody. I seek to educate and entertain through my journey of collecting coins and stacking precious metals. I encourage you to subscribe and please stay with me on this journey. I am Spegtacular, the Silver Stacular.